Connor, I'm gonna say this once at the top of the show. All right, I'm gonna say it once at the top of the show just to get it all out there. All right. What
And
a
that's it.
what a freaking heckin' slipping slapping good time it is to be a Doctor Who fan at the moment. It's like I never thought that the community as a
It's
whole
about time.
would be in such a place of positivity for the show. Scrolling down Twitter and not seeing like Chibnall hate mail and death threats and stuff, and just seeing
Yeah.
love. And there's a few people that are like, where was this for the first two seasons, which is a fair judgment and a fair call, but it's
Yeah.
better than seeing the whole like fuck you
Yeah.
Chibnall leave.
Yeah. It's really nice, actually. I think it is a great time to be a fan. And even the nice news of knowing Russell's going to come back in a couple of years is really cool as well. But it's like it doesn't feel like at the moment, which I think is the best thing. It doesn't feel like it's like a bit of a long walk till we get there. Like it feels really good that we've got a great season, it seems, at the moment. So it's like, that's really good. It doesn't feel like we have to suffer through the next 2 years to get to Russell. I've heard the odd couple people saying they don't like it, but yeah, I agree. The census feels like people are really enjoying it, which is really good.
I'm just glad that like Chibnall's legacy on the show won't be all like shit now, for the vast majority of people.
It's funny. Like I am kind of one of those. I'm kind of one of those people as well who are kind of just like, what the hell was going on in the first two seasons? Despite I actually kind of like season 12 a fair bit here and there. But I've literally got nearly 3 whole pages of notes here. Like I would not have ever thought that I would be doing that for an episode. Like lately, I just didn't think that. So the fact that I'm doing something like this is pretty extraordinary. So
because you've watched it twice now. Hey, I've only watched it once this time.
Yeah, so I watched it first, and then right in the morning, and then when I come back from work, or I came back from TAFE today, which is like uni here in Australia, and that's when I watch it and I take notes so I can review it a bit better, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's Flux Chapter 2 that we're talking about today, folks.
Let's go.
War of the Sontarinos. Dan Starkey's back. Fucking not Strax though, unfortunately.
No. No.
We can't have everything.
Just because it's Dan Starkey and he's playing a Sontaran, I'm sorry, but it does not mean it's Strax. Rip that big boy.
Rip that thick boy. All right, let's get into the flippin' heckin' show. Let's do it, baby.
50 50 50 50 50 50 50 50 50% podcast.
Flux. Doctor Who sucks and
Flux.
fucks.
What the flux? The flux.
What did the Flux say? All right. War of the Sontarans, baby. Like I said, is an episode of Doctor Who. So I'm just retreading ground here whilst I find myself in TARDIS Wiki.
What show again? What we reviewed?
Doctor Who. All right. So War of the Sontarans, it aired today, yesterday, wherever you're listening. Who the heck cares? And it is, episode 2 of the 6-part serial of Doctor Who Flux. The 13th Doctor wakes alone on a barren wasteland, looking up at a giant, dilapidated house. So he's then shook back to reality, a field of marsh surrounded by dead soldiers and spent artillery. Yaz and Dan then reappear, having also blacked out when the Flux cloud hits the TARDIS. The Doctor deduces they're on Earth when a woman approaches from the fog, calling them thieves. She confirms herself as Mary Seacole, and the Doctor deduces they're near Sevastopol in 1855 in the middle of the Crimean War. Whoa. And the plot goes on for a bit, because there is quite a bit in this episode. 60 minutes, which I didn't know, but 60 minutes.
Yeah, so it's like, what, 5 minutes longer?
10, I think. I think most of them are about 50 these days.
Okay. Yeah. That was really cool, though. That was really sick to see.
Yeah. I think because we have like 101 plot lines going on in this episode, well, we don't know. that's how I should describe last week's episode. But we have 3 very separate plot lines, I think is the best way to describe it. So perhaps what we should do is just talk about the 3 separate plot lines. You can kind of guide us around there a little bit, Connor, and yeah,
sure.
It's I don't know. What was your first impressions?
Yeah, loved it. Really, really liked it. This is like so cool. I felt like the script this week was a lot tighter. Despite really liking last week's. I definitely think it was a lot better, like writing wise. It had less to deal with, but still dealt with a lot with all the different storylines and stuff. It just felt like one of Chibnall's best written episodes, and it also to me felt like one of Jodie's best performances as well. And I think she finally got something to really work with, which I think she's not really had in the past. So that was really cool to see. I thought the Sontarans were a great villain to pick. All the 3 different storylines, I think, all worked really well. You didn't feel like one was unnecessary. I think it was really good. Like, I really do. It's so nice to have Doctor Who coming out each week and actually really enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for me, it was like, obviously chapter 1 was like crazy and shit was happening everywhere. And like, I watched that episode, like, I think almost 4 times. I say almost because I didn't quite get to the end on one watch, but it was like popcorn and like I was eating chocolate and candy and it felt so fucking good. And it does, but it is all that because it's all the setup, right? But then this episode, whilst I don't think it's as easy to just flick it on because it's, you know, it's actually got a proper pace to it, you know, like it's got a like within, like it's a contained story that also does like, well, it's not contained. Like, I don't know. It's like a broken bottle of a story. Like there is a story in there that is just this episode, but so many fractions of it go off into other episodes. And for that, I think that this episode is maybe going to be a little bit more rewatchable because my biggest worry with Flux was like, if I love it, then I'm always going to feel the want to rewatch it. But, you know, with Who, I just have a whim one evening. I'll just be like, you know what I fancy watching? Gridlock. Or just like a random episode. And I'm never going to be like, you know what I'm going to do tonight? Watch all 6 parts of Flux. Whereas I feel like this episode I could definitely watch on its own as its own little like part of the story, you know?
Yeah, I know, that's interesting. I think it'll be really cool to see, you know, how people will go and rewatch it. You know, I was literally, it's funny you should say that. I was thinking that today. I was like, oh, you know, what will happen if you want to like, you know, chuck on this one? It's like, do you feel like it's just too out of order? You know?
Yeah.
But
no, totally.
It's funny though, like I think it, you know, I remember we were a bit concerned about, or maybe not so much you, but I was a bit concerned about a shorter season when it was like, oh, you know, is this going to work? Like, will we get to have a full storyline? I think it's such a smart and clever idea to have it in like 6 parts. And it's funny though, because like next week seems to be really connected, but I saw the Synopsis drop for, what's it called? The Village of the Angels? There's something like that.
So, for chapter 4.
What's it called? Yeah, it sounds like its own kind of like thing. And it's like, you can tell it's going to be loosely connected because we get to see the Weeping Angels briefly in the next time trailer for next week. But it's like, yeah, it seems smart. It seems clever. It reminds me of like classic stories back in the day used to be like 5-6 parts sometimes, wouldn't they? So it's like,
yeah, it's
it
very
seems
similar
to be,
to that.
you know, kind of like doing that kind of thing. Yeah, so I think it's really cool. I really think they like took the, you know, obstacles or opportunities. They took like a disadvantage of like COVID and having to do a shorter season and took it to the best place they could.
Totally.
I've really got nothing but good things to say about it so far. There's a couple of things I'm like, but I've really got nothing but good things to say about it. I'm having such a blast watching them. It's been so fun. And the energy has just been so good. You feel so like, oh, let's go. Like, it's just really exciting. I haven't felt this good about it in years.
I really enjoyed, I think that one of the first things I said on last week's show was, I just hope that next week we kind of get to breathe a little bit, which I really felt like we got to, whilst also keeping up the momentum of the series, I think.
Yeah.
And then I also genuinely sat there and smiled to myself when when Dan's dad gave him the walk and left, I literally sat there and I thought to myself, I'm enjoying this so much. Like, I feel like I'm watching, an RTD era story. Like, I feel like I'm transported back to that with how much I'm enjoying it. And B,
100%.
I love all these characters. I love all these plot lines. I'm finding them all equally interesting. And I think that's
100%.
great. I think my only
Yeah.
slight gripe with this episode, and it's slight because I understand why it's this way, but is that I think Yaz got sidelined a little bit, which is a shame because Yaz always gets sidelined. But I think she got sidelined because she was with Vinda, and the Vinda plot wasn't that necessary for the big story of this episode. It was just sort of there to shuffle on the main series plot. But the stuff we did get of Yaz and
next
Vinda,
week it seems to be like say like next week more.
Yeah, totally. But the stuff we did get of Yaz and Vinda was amazing. Like seeing them meet the villains for the first time, when there's that the swarm is like posing and is like, that stuff is so funny. It's so good.
Yeah. It is. By the way, our Zoom call seems to be fucking up with us tonight, guys. So sorry about that. We seem to be about 5 seconds behind.
That's good. That's good for the listeners. It's really good. Let's have a long 5-second pause between everything. Let's go off video for a Mo Cotter whilst we figure this out. We'll keep talking and we'll cut off the video. Alrighty.
Can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, baby.
Okay, cool. I just said I was just saying about how I thought the episode looked absolutely stunning, like especially in the first scene with the house for one, and then second of all, the snow on the battlefield looked so beautiful when it was snowing. I was like, oh my god, this looks amazing.
Yeah, I saw, and I wanted to draw attention to this actually because we didn't actually talk about him last week, but the director of this episode, Jamie Magnus Stone, he put up a tweet with a promo photo for it and was like, it's on at 6:15 tonight. Beautiful shots from this cinematographer. We really had to battle through the rain of this one. And I was like, man, you battled through the rain? And it added so much to it. Like the rain looks so beautiful. I think it's great. Jamie Magnus Stone has directed for Doctor Who before. He kind of seems to be the main director for the Chibnall era. His first one was Spyfall Part 1. In Fugitive, he directed all the Jack Harkness scenes. I don't know why he directed those scenes and the director of the episode didn't do those scenes, but yeah, he also did Praxius, Ascension of the Cybermen, The Timeless Children, and then the Halloween Apocalypse and War of the Sontarans. But he is also directing the Weeping Angel episode of this season, and I think the Centenary special.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. He definitely, I think, I totally agree. He definitely does seem like the director of Jodie's era, which I'm completely fine with. There were some beautiful shots in this season, some beautiful wides. That shot of I even wrote in my notes. I was thinking to myself, this is some Game of Thrones stuff where there was those massive wide shots of the battlefield and the Sontarans and the British going at each other. It just looks stunning.
It's crazy, man. One last fun fact about Jamie Magnus Stone is he has directed 2 of the minisodes in the past. One of them was The Last Day, which was the one, do you remember prior to the Day of the Doctor, there was 2 minisodes that came out for it. I don't remember what. Oh, one of them was the Paul McGann, was it The Night of the
Paul
Doctor?
McGann one, yeah.
And then the other one that came out a day or 2 before was called The Last Day, and it was just a couple of minutes long, and it was some soldiers on a Gallifrey and base being attacked by Daleks.
Yeah.
He directed that and another minisode called Clara and the TARDIS, which is a minisode on the Series 7 Blu-ray set, which I will watch when we get there. But yeah, that's so weird that he directed those 2 minisodes and then just came back in Series 12.
Come on, come back. We love you.
We love that you work on those minisodes, man.
We love the minisodes. Yeah, I thought it was great. There was so many beautiful shots. Even the Sontarans in the sleet, almost the rainy snow. I thought it was awesome. And the setup with the whole it's meant to be England versus Russia, and it's actually England versus the Sontarans, and Russia's now Sontar.
Yeah.
It was cool, and it took me by surprise. I was like, "What the fuck is going on with time?" It's awesome. The TARDIS is fucking up because time's going crazy. Like there's no doors on it. Like it won't let her leave the battlefield. Like it was such cool, interesting stuff.
The most interesting part of this episode to me, though, and the more I think about it, the more interested I am, is the start of the episode when we see, we're in black and white, which looks beautiful, and we see the twisted, creaking, broken looking house. And I should talk about this a little bit because me and you, Connor, we had the briefest of discussions about it today. And I said I'd talk about it on the show. So here I am talking about it on the show. So we see this creepy ass freaking house. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool house. And then I check Twitter, and Twitter's like, that cool house, I think, is Lungbarrow. And I saw a whole bunch of people saying, that's Lungbarrow. That's Lungbarrow. Dylan messaged me, that's Lungbarrow. Everyone's saying this shit's going to be Lungbarrow. And I'm like, I've heard of that. I know it's a 7th Doctor book, but don't know what it's about. So I had a Google, and it all adds up, Connor. Let me tell you. So I'm going to read you the plot of Lungbarrow. So it's a novel that came out in 1997. His mind occupied and thoughts of his coming regeneration, the Doctor accidentally returns to Gallifrey and the house of Lungbarrow, where for over 673 years his 44 cousins have been trapped. But mysteriously, only 6 of them are still left. Meanwhile, Chris Quedge, don't know who that is having strange dreams of the past when the family cast the Doctor out. The Doctor is accused of the murder of the head of the house, but he finds many allies in the form of former companions, Ace, Romana, K9, Leela, who have become embroiled in a celestial intervention agency plot to overthrow Romana's presidency. The secrets of the past are catching up to the Doctor. In particular, the secret that links him to the figure from Gallifreyan history known only as the Other. So, like, first thoughts, that shit's like interesting. I can't imagine them going down the route of like the 44 cousins and stuff like that for this. Yeah. But the interesting thing to me here is that it seems like maybe the main villain of this book or in some way the Other is involved. Do you know who the Other is, Connor?
No, I do not.
So Master? The Other, there's the 3 founding fathers of Gallifrey, and I knew this from series 12 because there's Rassilon, there's Omega, and then there's the Other. And we all kind of know vaguely Rassilon and Omega's stories. The Other story is much more vague, and you actually see in the Timeless Children when they talk about and they named themselves Time Lords, and there's 3 Time Lords that walk down a corridor. That's supposed to be the founding fathers of Rassilon, Omega, and the Other. So the Other is like it's like a figure that's not really well known in Gallifreyan society, but he's only been mentioned like once or twice in the TV show, I think. But he's got a slightly more presence in the expanded media. So my thoughts is from this is, what if, and this might be me just spitting out random shit here, what if Spawn, the big man himself, what if he is the Other?
The Other.
And that like he's like trying to frame the Doctor for some shit, and he's like changed the Matrix of Gallifrey to all the Timeless Child stuff. I don't know how it's working. I don't know what's going to happen. But my theory is that Spawn is the Other, and that he's trying to manipulate time to frame the Doctor of something that we don't know yet. That we will find out. But I think that's, I don't know. That's my theory. The Doctor isn't the Timeless Child.
Yeah, I could see something like that happening. It's certainly interesting. That sounds really cool. Yeah, I mean, like it was so intriguing at the start. I was like, what the fuck is this? I love it. Let's wait a couple of weeks and we'll find out. Like, I didn't expect to get the answer in that episode, but
yeah,
it seems really cool. there was some really cool stuff. Like even like the Maury and stuff, and the planet called Time. Like that was really cool, and that's all got to connect somehow as well. And also we get to see that bloke from last week's episode briefly show up.
Yeah, that was
which
interesting.
somehow have to connect. Yeah, so that was like from Liverpool. So there is a connection of Liverpool's like an underground tunnel that leads to this planet somehow for a portal. I mean, we were correct about the Flux being that will throw him through time. So maybe there's like all these different like time portals all around Earth and the universe and stuff. Like who knows?
The old guy, I found out since, and I think this made a lot more sense to people who are English. But the old guy from Liverpool, he's a guy called Joseph Williamson, who back in the 1800s, whenever that flashback was set last week, Joseph Williamson built a whole series of underground tunnels, I think, in Liverpool. And apparently the tunnels like just serve no purpose. And there's no explanation as to why he built those tunnels. And that's what he's building in episode 1.
I see. Okay.
So I reckon they're going to do a classic Doctor Who sci-fi twist to explain why he randomly built these tunnels.
I like that. That's cool. Okay, I didn't actually know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And I also liked how like jumping back to the battlefield, I like how also I still don't really know, but like Mary Seacole, she was once again like Doctor Who does, like it's introducing a character from the past that kids can now learn about. This woman who really helped wounded soldiers on the battlefield, and I really love this line later on in the episode where the Doctor gets shown the Sontaran played by Dan Starkey that's in the prison, and she says, "My job is to tend to the wounded, no matter what side they're on." And the Doctor has a line where she says, "Just like the Russians." So she, in real life, tended to both the wounded, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. And it gives us this, introduces us to this character who even I didn't know about. So I highly doubt children do. No. And that's awesome. I thought she was a great character. I thought the Colonel as well was a great character. You understood his motives. You understood her motives. They were great characters to have around the Doctor for this week. And everyone had a really good character. Like Dan's parents were really cool, and then the Carbonista came back, and then even Yaz had like Binder and stuff. All these characters have been really good, and I know Chibnall's really struggled with characters in the past. The fact that I'm liking every single one that's coming up so far really shocks and surprises me, but it really makes me happy because I'm like, this is awesome. Yeah. Some really good storytelling.
No, it's great, man. I think that's a great point about Mary Seacole, because I think I was a bit worried as to how they were going to handle her, like with it being a big, sci-fi Sontaran epic. That's also a big part of a big 6-part epic. I was like, how much are we going to actually be able to learn about the real Mary Seacole? But I think they balanced it really well, and I think I learned a lot about her, and so I think that was
me
really
too,
great.
Yeah, like there's like definitely like this, this. I don't know. You really realize this with like humanity at the moment with like COVID and stuff. It's like people can be so amazing and stuff. And I know Chibnall said that when he started his tenure, he wanted to make sure that kids like learn about people, and learn about people like that is really interesting, I think. And it worked. There's a hilarious. Oh my god, the most I laughed throughout the episode. I wrote it down. Was when they sneak onto the Sontaran ship, and Dan comes onto the almost like the space time, and he's like, "Mary, is that you?" He's like, "Oh, hi, dear. I don't understand any of this." It's like so funny, like when they were like, he's like, "Mary, is that you?" He's like, "Oh, hi, dear." Like this, like the banter was fantastic. Like the two worlds crossing over, like the brief scenes that they got to show us, like the hardest thing on the battlefield was awesome, and then obviously they all disappeared. But yeah, you're right. I was worried as well how they were all gonna balance all this, but I don't know, where do you think this sudden change of like Ryan has come from? Like, do you think he just maybe, because I know he said he didn't really listen to people like reviews and stuff. Do you think maybe he just listened to maybe like
I don't know where this change of writing for Chibnall has come from. Hey, it's bizarre. I don't
Yeah.
think he's gone and listened to feedback. Maybe some people have like sat him down at the BBC and been like, "Listen, mate, they're not really liking you right now." And so maybe that's like whipped him into gear. I don't know. I don't know how he's just suddenly done like a 180 and is now doing these incredible stories.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Hmm.
Like,
Part of me
I
just
don't know
thinks
if it's
maybe he
like
just
COVID.
excels so much with a big 6-part story. You know, maybe that's just his cup of tea.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was gonna be like, yeah, I think maybe just the the task and the challenge of COVID making it a 6 episode series challenged him in the best way, and it really helped.
Totally.
It just must have really helped.
Yeah.
So Dan's parents were really good this week. They were a hit.
Are you
I
talking
thought,
about Wilf and Sylvia?
yeah, literally, Wilf and Sylvia, as we kept joking about today in our group chat. Um, I thought for the short time they had, they didn't like overstay their welcome. I thought they were really funny and just a great little add to the episode.
Yeah, it was good because we didn't get to know too much of Dan's personal life in the first episode, which I think was fine because it was such like a. I don't think there was room for it, and I bet that Chibnall would have debated putting them in the first episode, but I just bet there was just no room in the script for it.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
and so I think it was great to just bring him along for like 10, 15 minutes of this episode just to flesh Dan out a little bit more. I think that was great.
Yeah, it made me really laugh when like like there was just so many funny lines, and I love that Dan got to come back to Liverpool just for a little bit and like fuck around till he went to the harbour and stuff and go out to his house and all that. And I thought that was really funny. And yeah, their banter together was really awesome. I love how his dad said he's the Wallace Jr., a boxing champion of 1966, and his mum and Dan like both word it like he says it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really funny, and I like how his mum was like, you said they'd be off at the weekend, like they just like bantering in the car and stuff. I thought that stuff was great. Again, a really good add to the episode. Like, it seems to be balancing humor really well with a serious storyline, which is
Yeah.
exactly what we've all wanted for a long time, I think. Like,
And I've always thought that Chibnall's humor hasn't been great in his scripts, but these last two I think have been genuinely really funny.
yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with John Bishop, and it's just like comedic timing. That's just so funny. Like,
Yeah.
he's just making me crack up.
The most I laughed was him being like, and they have this weird obsession with Japanese food. Tony's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, they're talking about tempura or whatever. And Jody's like, do you think they meant temporal?
Could that be with time? Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it was great. And even with like the Carvinists, like they have such great banter together. He's like, keep your fur on and stuff, and floppy ears and all that. Like, it's just great banter. I'm like, these characters just work so well together.
It made sense for Carvinista to come back as well. I feel like it like he was obviously at Earth defending Earth, so it was like it didn't feel like a bullshit. Oh, Carvinista's here. Like I think it made
totally
sense for him to be there, but you also didn't expect it, so it was really good. I thought.
Do you think? Here's what I'm thinking. Do you think that in the last episode, all of these characters like Carvinista, like the General, just like Mary C. Cole, like, do you think, and like whoever we're gonna meet in the next couple of episodes, do you reckon they're all gonna do like a bit of like an Avengers Endgame at the end, and it'll be like together to like fight this battle or something?
There might be a small scene or something that does it, like maybe the start of Pandorica Opens, how it kind of combines all the Series 5 plot lines.
Yes, yeah.
I could see something small like that happening. I couldn't see a huge thing with like Mary C. Cole and the General, but I could definitely see like Carvanista, what's he called?
Like Vinder and stuff.
Vinder, and like maybe a few other characters we meet. Maybe Claire, the Weeping Angels girl. I could definitely see like a few of the other big characters that we might meet also coming together. I think that's highly likely, but I think Mary C. Cole, I think she's probably done, maybe bar a small cameo. But yeah.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah. I think you're right with the whole like Pandora Pandora opens kind of thing, where like we might get like a brief minute scene or something.
Yeah.
Because they kind of left it open or like hope to meet you again. She could just say that, just to say that. But I was like, oh, maybe that might be leaving it open. Oh, the song. So what do you think of the Sontarans in the episode? I thought they were used really well.
I thought it was amazing to have Sontarans that were actually a threat, but also like still kind of silly, like balancing the silliness of Sontarans with the threat nature of them. I thought that was great. I love the design. I think it was amazing. I love him riding a horse. The joke of him riding a horse was pretty funny.
I wanted to ride a horse.
Yeah, and I wanted to ride a horse.
Hey, who doesn't, you know?
They mentioned Lynx, who is the first Sontaran seen in Doctor Who. Not the first one ever, but he's not the first Sontaran ever, but he's the first one seen in Doctor Who in the Time Warrior, which I haven't seen, but I know his name. And so when they mentioned it, I was like, oh, that's a cool thing. And I saw like everyone on Twitter just explode like they mentioned Lynx. And yeah, so that's a cool little thing. And it makes sense, you know, that like it was a good mention, I think, that it was like,
yeah, it is.
I think in the Time Warrior, Link comes and he puts like a flag on Earth or something and names it his or something, just from like pictures and stuff I've seen. And so it makes sense that they're like mad that humans and the Doctor keep fighting back and shit. Yeah, I think it was great. I was a bit like, kind of wish that Dan Starkey wasn't in it, to be honest. Like his cameo last week was fun, but I just like, I don't know. I just wish they would have a little bit more faith in some new.
Dan Starkey.
What was that?
It kind of like takes you out of it. Like Dan Starkey plays Strax, and you're like,
yeah, you just think of him as Strax the whole time, and you can tell like, yeah, because the main one, he dies, right? The main Dan Starkey Sontaran from this episode dies.
So it's just like clones, yeah.
But yeah, like there's another one with a helmet on that you hear talk, and you can tell it's Dan Starkey again. But it does make sense because yeah, they are clones, but it is just like you just hear Strax the whole time.
It's funny, like there were so many great lines. One I wrote down was your blood will soak our uniforms, your bodies will soften our steps. Like there were such great lines like that where I was like, bro, like that's such a cool line. And even back with like with Vinda and Yaz and stuff, like there was this quote, it says time is evil and it will seek its own. Like I was like, damn, these are like such cool lines. Totally. Like, this is some good dialogue, and there was just like such like teasers and stuff, and like you know, Chibnall when he wrote in like the Doctor Who magazine, it was like, you know, we're making them like cold-blooded killers again, and I'm like, that was really apparent. I thought like
they
really
they killed
did
their
show
own,
that,
you know.
Yeah, totally. Like I think it worked really well. They worked so well as and especially for like an episode that was like, you know, it was only one episode. I mean, they might briefly show up again. Who knows? Like maybe for a scene or something. I don't know. But to have them in an episode, I know it was like an hour, but to have them in that and have the other storylines, like I thought it all just gelled really well. And I've learned about myself. I'm quite picky with my Doctor Who. I'm like, I can be quite, you know, put my nose up in the air with stuff, but I couldn't help but find it so enjoyable. And I thought they were just used so well. I don't know, I'm really shocked at myself because I'm the first to complain about something when it's like not really my cup of tea. But I can't not say that I'm not having an absolute ball with all this stuff.
Dude, it's great. The new Sontaran ship looks great. Like the interior looked amazing. I thought it was a bit bullshit that you can just do the 3-finger thing. I know it's been done before, but I was like, surely, like, you know, you can't just have anyone's thumb go up to the thumb lock on a phone and unlock it, you know. But that, I'll let that pass because it's like a long running gag in Who, I guess. We got to see Sontar Ha again, which is great because we didn't know, because we're reverting back to classic stuff. I'm pretty sure the whole Sontar Ha thing is only from Poison Sky. I don't think that's in classic Who.
Yeah.
So it was nice they did a small little Sontar Ha. We also had Sontar Ho. Sontar Ho.
Sontar Ho, interesting. But it's funny, like there was quite a lot of parallels to the season 4 episode because with Poison Sky and Sontaran Strategy, because like I like how the Doctor was like again like yelling at humans to not engage fighting with the Sontarans. It was a very
True.
similar line to what was used in that episode. But I tell you what, man, I love this episode so much more than that two-parter.
Mm. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite Sontaran episode I've seen.
I really did. Yes, it was so cool. Like just even down to the designs and the way they acted, spoke, like it was really, really awesome.
Loved it, man. What did you think?
The whole
there was this.
Even all was, yeah, go on.
I was going to say that there was this great shot where one of the Sontaran ships, and it looks a bit silly at the start when Dan and Carvanista jump out, but it looked like funny silly, like it was kind of funny. But then the last half of the shot, it pans and follows the ship as it smashes into all the other ships, and it just looks so fucking badass, man. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, when Who gets badass, sometimes it's a bit like, oh, they just wanted to do the big explosions, like Rory at the start of A Good Man Goes to War, where he's like, where is my wife? And all the cyber ships are blowing up. This just felt proper badass just watching that happen. It just looked amazing. I was a little disappointed that we didn't see all the other cyber ships like go away. Sorry, the Sontaran ships go away. Like, we just saw them like first two blow up, and then they were like, they're all gone. But yeah.
That shot of the Carvanista and Dan jumping out of the ship was the only time I noticed the CGI this week. Apart from that, I thought everything was great. Even that didn't bother me, though. I agree with you. It was just it was a funny kind of silly thing. But that whole scene of breaking down out of the ship, of the Sontaran ship, again was just awesome. And
the walk puns.
Yeah, the Wat puns, just like him flying down the pipe was just like, it's an awesome shot. It just looks sick. It was keep your fur on, like, it's just like there's so many great lines. Down the garbage chute, it's another reference to Star Wars. There was quite a few in the first episode, and I got the garbage chute Star Wars reference again in this one.
That's right.
Yeah, they kind of like kamikaze all the other. all the ships, and it was awesome. It was so cool.
Sorry, I'm just drinking my beer and it just foamed up on me. So
that's right. Did you notice? Did you catch kind of like how the Colonel, as the Sontaran ship was going away and they were retreating, the Colonel sets off the cannon, which sets alight to all the gunpowder, and it's very similar to the Christmas invasion. Because the Doctor says like they were leaving, they were like surrendering. Almost.
Oh yeah,
and it like gave me parallels to Christmas Invasion, which I really doubt they were going for, but I picked up on that. So
yeah, no, that was really cool. There was a few moments this episode, like I think it was Joey's best performance, and I think it was she was great in it, and the Doctor was just fantastic. All the stuff of like the sweeping shots of her running to the TARDIS, that was all felt so desperate. There was like one scene where I was like, oh, I wish this was maybe played a little differently, where she's being escorted away from the battle right after the big Game of Thrones battle shot happens, and she's being escorted away. And she's just like walking with this soldier, and they're just like chatting, and then she like taps him out, like she zaps him or whatever, and she's like, she says something, but there's no like haste to her. I feel like she should have been like, oh my God, like thousands of people are dying right now. I need to do this. I need to get out of this situation and stop this all from happening right now. But there wasn't that sense of urgency as to how much of a catastrophe was happening. But beyond that, no, it was great. Big fan.
Yeah. Why can the Doctor suddenly make people pass out? Is that a thing? Like,
I don't know. Doesn't she do shit like that every now and then? Hasn't a few of the Doctors done that kind of thing before?
Yeah, I kind of think it is just a thing, but they don't use it a lot, and it kind of shows up here and there. And you're like, the fuck, but okay, I'll just let it go. Another great line I love was when Doctor got finally back into the TARDIS. Like all the doors around, like it wouldn't let her in. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And it finally lets her in. And I thought the line with the Carvanista is like, "Oh, here she comes now. All the work is done." Was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know where this humor is coming from. Like,
dude, so good.
Dude, just really worked.
The really TARDIS is fucked, man.
We got to talk about that. What is going on?
It must just be like times being fucked. That's fucking I don't know. I feel like that's the obvious explanation, though. I feel like that's what they want you to think, and there's something bigger going on.
Yeah, because Swarm's like time time is not good. Time changing is not good for the TARDIS. He says a line similar to that. So time changes so much is killing the TARDIS. But dude, it is getting fucked over. I don't know what's happening to it, but it's crazy.
Maybe because the TARDIS is so tightly connected to the Doctor, and because maybe Swarm's been rewriting the Doctor's history with the whole timeless child thing or something, and it's fucking with the TARDIS. I don't know. Just
quite
thoughts.
possibly.
Just thoughts.
Yeah, I thought with the small scenes that even like Jacob Anderson had this week, I thought he was great.
He commands the screen. He is so good.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's crazy how like he hasn't really had much to do at the moment, but like leaves such an impression on me, you know?
Yeah. No, it's all great, dude. Is it Azura or Azuri something? Azuri and Swarm.
Azuri, yeah.
They are so good, man. That I love. These are like this is a fucking huge call, right? And we're only 2 episodes in, so anything can change. But I think these are maybe except like the Weeping Angels, these are like the best new villains from New Who, because like they just have this presence. I just feel them, you know, like they feel like real characters, but they're also camp as hell in the best Doctor Who way possible. They've got these great designs. The performances are amazing. And I can just tell they've just got something up their sleeve. You know, there's some big twist as to who they are. I can't wait to find out. And I just think, I hope they do this 6 episodes and they're really great. And then I hope they're a villain that, well, it depends how this story wraps up. But, you know, maybe they can come back for an episode every now or then, like the Master does or something. Because the Master's kind of been done now. And I feel like I'm not phasing out the Master, but maybe using him a little bit less and maybe getting some new recurring faces rather than, you know, we always have recurring villains of the Daleks, Sidemen, Weeping Angels and that, but to have like proper faces that we see from time to time again as villains, I think they have the chance to do that with these characters.
Yeah, even like it was called the Atropos, which was just like standing behind them as like this guard you don't ever see his face.
That's Passenger.
Passenger.
Yeah, they called him Passenger. Atropos is the temple that they're in.
Oops. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, they're in the temple of Atropos on the planet of time. Yeah, that Passenger guy though, I'm curious about him. He just looks like maybe the muscles.
Yeah, the muscles. Yeah, almost like a bodyguard of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so time passes through the Mori. And it's like, you know, who you know, where they come from, that's unknown. Maybe they're like Time Lords, who knows? Because obviously the Time Lords are always there to do that job. So now it's like they're these people now. Like it makes sense if they were Time Lords, but we don't know. Yeah, no, it was a great addition to the episode. I thought all those scenes, and there was like not too many, and it kind of worked. Oh, what did you think? Here's a good thing to bring up. What did you think of the what would the Doctor do? Like, what would Jesus do? But it was on the.
Ask yourself, what would Jesus do?
Yeah, literally, what would Jesus do?
What would the Doctor? I thought that was great. I think it was very Yaz. I think it's very Yaz's character. Yeah. I love all of Yaz's scenes. I feel like Mandip Gill's really come into her own this season, and even just the way she says, "I'm Yaz," like she said that like a few times this season already, and I'm just like. I just love it. I love you, Yaz. You're one of my favorite companions in a while. I do, even though she has been underutilized a lot. I just really like what she does get. And this season, her getting a bit more presence has been lovely.
Yeah, the WWTDD. What would the Doctor do?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about the idea of like? So the Flux is obviously the storyline we assume is going to finish in episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? There's 3 more episodes after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 3 specials. Yeah.
So I'm really confused to see if it's gonna be like a continued storyline. Like, do we also know? Because I put here in my notes. I hate the fact that Dan might go after episode 6. Because I feel like he's such a great character.
I'm pretty sure.
Has he been seen?
I'm pretty sure he's in the specials.
Okay.
Because he's definitely in the Centenary special. He must be in all of them because I remember he put on his Instagram live. He was like in a car and he was like, this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's going, I just finished my last day on Doctor Who, and it's been the best job I've ever had in my life. I don't know, this is
Wow.
the wrong accent, but yeah, he was saying like it's the best job he's ever had in his life, and he's had so much fun with it over the past year, which indicates that he's probably been on all the specials. So yeah,
Well, that's fantastic.
yeah. What I'm hoping is that these
I'm
6
just
episodes wrap up pretty nicely with maybe like a small unanswered question, and then we have like the Dalek special, the Easter special with the pirates, and then
whatever the final,
and then the centenary special just wraps up that last little thread, is what I would hope.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I'm really hyped for it. I really hope there's a bit of like a storyline that continues on for the rest of the episodes, because this storyline really like has got me intrigued. A few little things to add before we get to like the final couple of scenes. Just going through my notes. Shadow Proclamation gets mentioned, which is really cool.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I got mentioned, so that was really sick.
Yeah.
I wrote. I really enjoyed the score a lot more this week. I noticed it a lot, and I thought it was awesome.
Really, I noticed it a lot more last week, to be honest. But yeah, no,
okay.
Sure.
we do Loopy Lose, you and I, and
we do.
Oh god.
Yeah,
I thought the script was a lot better as well. Like I said, I thought it was not that it makes it sound like I didn't like last week's episode, like script wise, but I just, like you said, it was like eating sweets, like it was a lot of stuff and not much substance, which is what a lot of people said, like they really liked it, but they felt like there wasn't really the gist of it. You didn't really get the gist of it, when I feel like with this episode you really did get it. I like how Dan was saying he was just looking for the beer when he went into the Sontaran ship, and he said it twice, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Just my final little notes here. I like the Doctor's almost like PowerPoint, where she had all like the Sontaran like ship drawing on the wall and the Sontaran drawing.
Yeah.
She was like, I thought it was really funny how she's like, she says like the petrol tank, and then they all look around like the fuck, and then she's like, horse nose bags, and they're like, oh, okay, we get it. I thought that was great. That was really done well. I thought the 7.5 minute rest thing was like, although I kind of find it hard to believe all the Sontarans be resting at once, I thought it was a smart way to kind of get them. I thought that was good.
That's something I forgot about. I was like, surely the Sontarans are smart enough not to all go on rest at the same time.
Yeah,
there's a thing called sentry duty.
Yeah, I thought there was like, obviously a couple around, but it wasn't as bad as the conclusions I thought it was going to be. I guess the last thing I really got to talk about on my notes is the fact that I like how the Covenant is like the universe is in a very bad way. I feel like it's been such a long time since we've had like that's been said, and I've actually felt the weight of it. Like it really does feel like the universe is getting like completely fucked over, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the universe is getting fucked over, but also what this episode did really well was show that there's also species that are taking advantage of that. Like the Sontarans.
Oh, I thought that was so smart.
Weren't connected to the Flux, but they took the Flux as an opportunity to finally conquer Earth. Yeah,
I thought that was such a smart idea, and it was. Totally like the Sontarans to do something like that,
Very clever.
And our last one put here was the cliffhanger was okay, but I don't care. Like, I thought the cliffhanger was like pretty standard, because you're going to see the next one trailer in a couple of seconds, and Vinder and Yaz are going to be fine. But I didn't care. I thought it was
still cool.
It's left me with suspense, and I'm so excited to see what they do next week. It just seems really cool.
It's one of those things where, like, with all these shows, whenever like a character dies in a cliffhanger that isn't the finale or something, you always know they're gonna come back. But I'm so intrigued to see how they're gonna do it. Is what I love.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it'd be really cool to see Dan and the Doctor have scenes with Vinder as well. Yaz being there with Vinder as well. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And apparently the Angels rock up for a little bit. Who knows? Oh, the Cybermen are going to be in it. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Madness.
The Cybermen are in it. Bro.
And I think as well, for the most part, actually, I keep forgetting to say this one thing. is that I do think some of the dialogue was still a little bit unnecessary in this episode, but that's fine.
Yes,
That's
I agree. A lot of people just talking to themselves out loud.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like we understand the saying, Chibnall, it's all right. We're not stupid.
Don't tell us,
we know what's
baby.
going on. We know.
Yeah, but sorry, what I was going to say was that I feel like we've seen a lot of the trailer footage already now. And I feel like the next 4 episodes, we don't actually know that much about what's going to happen in them. There's like, we obviously knew the Sidemen were coming back. We got the Ood, a very small bit of the Weeping Angels. But other than that, like, we really know very little about these last 4 episodes, which I think is great.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's exciting. I forgot about the Ood as well. The Ood, I'm sure, will just be a little brief cameo, but that'll be cool to see them.
Totally.
We do know very little about it, which I think is awesome. Like, wow, yeah, it's exciting times. Like, it's I can't wait for next week. Just to see how it's all connected. It's weird to think next week when we watch the episode we'll be halfway through.
Yeah,
because that's it.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Here's a small thing.
I'm very excited.
One, I think the Doctor Who Twitter account and Instagram is going off. I think they're doing really well over on the socials, just how much they're promoting the show and stuff. 2, they're even doing a really cool small thing where every week, so before episode 1 came out, the Who, it's like Who in a circle for the logo.
Yeah.
It was like normal. It was fine, just like a slightly different shade of color. And then after episode 1, it was a bit fractured. After episode 2, it's now even more fractured. So each episode, they're slightly changing the logo, so it's more and more fractured in the social media profile picture. As to what that means, I don't know, but it's just cool. They're kind of tying all the mediums and the socials together like that,
Yeah, I also noticed in the next time trailer they put like chapter 3, Once Upon a Time. So they actually put the episode name there as well, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, they did that with War of the Sontarans as well. Yeah, no,
I
really
didn't notice that. I didn't pick up on that.
Fake fan.
I am.
All right, shall we move on to Australia's second favorite segment?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Let's go, baby. It's time for Just Twitter. No, this is Australia's favorite segment. God, I'm really a mess at the moment, to be honest. We want to hear. We're going to talk about your guys' thoughts on the episode. It's time for Just Twitter Tings.
Let's go.
Bang. Wasn't that fun?
Oh, I love it.
So much fun. I also realized that sound didn't share properly with you, but that's fine.
I could hear it.
Good. So, all right. So this is where, I reach out to you guys on Twitter, and you guys can also send through your audio to us through the Anchor app. And we just want to know your thoughts on the bloody episode. And Connor's got some over on Insta as well. So
Correct.
Here is what the people think. Dylan says, what are Chibnall's best? There's a few lines here and there that could have been cut. I'm home. Yeah. Cheers, Dan. Thanks for stating the obvious. Jokes aside, I really enjoyed this one. The Sontarans are great. Dan is quickly becoming one of my favorites of the season. And Jodie actually takes center stage. Finally, after 2 seasons, I feel like Jodie is given some real shit to work with. She's very good at mixing comedy and the more serious aspects of the story. My favorite thing about the episode was Swarm and Azuri. Fucking brilliant. Camp as hell, really chewing up the scenery. I loved every second of them, and I can't wait to find out who the hell Passenger is. Also, the house at the beginning, the house of Lungbarrow. Oh, and the Dogman came back. I love that guy. That was Dylan. Vinny then said, I didn't watch it because I was at work. Please.
Vinny, get around there.
That's Vinny's review. All right, we got a couple of things over on the audio side of stuff. So we have from the now that's what I call comedy podcast.
Roll it.
I actually cannot believe it. Chibnall's done it again. A good episode. What? It's okay. So last week I think I gave it 6 out of 10. This week, solid 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed this week's episode. I think Dan and the dog are still great. I think Dan's reaction to sort of like fading away was a bit weak. He's like, oh, What's happening?
I agree.
Like, yeah, imagine if the end of the Infinity War was like that. If like Spider-Man was like, "Oh, what's happening to me?" If he was just like that, like so calm about it. But yeah, I also really enjoyed Jodie. You know, I feel like a lot of during her time as a doctor, she's like been this like primary school teacher, and she actually got to do that this episode of the whole figuring out the plan bit. And I really enjoyed how dark she got at the end. Really Christmas Invasion vibes.
There you go.
Hey,
Solid 7 out of 10 episode.
awesome.
Okay, this needs a part 2. The Swarm at the end, I really enjoyed him as a villain, and the blue one, I can't remember the name. I don't know what's going on with that temple thing, but it seems interesting. Also, what is going on with that Liverpool guy from the 1800s? Still waiting to see what happens to that. Also, what happened to the woman that went into the house last episode? Hopefully, we'll see a bit more of that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the structure of this season, where everything's sort of like this is one story. I think it's a really nice change of pace for Doctor Who. Also, I want Dan and the dog to have its own sitcom in the style of Peep Show. So the question of the week is, what 2 Doctor Who characters would you have in your own sitcom?
Oh, what 2? We'll come back to that. We've also got a part 3 from him here. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did a third part. I just remember something. The person who played Mary, what a fantastic job. That's probably one of the...
It's just great.
It's another amazing historical guest star. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm surprised how much I enjoyed this episode.
Oh, sorry.
Hopefully this momentum continues.
Yeah. Banging. Thanks for that, Jacob. Yeah.
They always do a really good job picking the guest stars and whoever has to play
the historical actors kind of thing.
I think they always do a really, really good job at that kind of
do.
thing. That's always been consistent, even from season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh,
what 2 characters would you like to see in a sitcom, Connor, from Doctor Who?
Okay, that's a good question.
It's good. No, I've never thought about this one before.
I'd say, that is a good question. Oh, Dan and Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I reckon that'd be pretty cool.
I reckon Nardole and the 12th Doctor. Again, just doing their shit, you know.
Just doing their thing.
Just doing their thing, man. I think that's good. Or like Wilf and Sylvia. Like Will, Sylvia and Donna, but Donna still doesn't know about all the Doctor stuff.
I love it. It's weird to think those characters are still out there just dealing with all these fucking Sontarans and shit. Like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Them blooming aliens.
They're back again. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, the Doctor will stop you. I just love Wilf. I can just imagine him saying shit like that.
The Doctor, she'll do it.
All right, and then we got a slightly lengthy one here from Dave. Here we go.
Hey, it's Xavier, former co-host. I'd like to input the fact that this is a very nice return to form in that we have much less stories to follow. You know, having it limited down to just the baddies, Dan on Earth, and the Doctor in the future. What am I saying? That's completely wrong.
Is that it?
We got more.
I think this is a really good return to form in that we only have 3 real stories to follow. In Yaz, Dan, and the Doctor all being split up. The planet called Time is a really interesting thing, and the fact that there are guardians of time. Chris has this thing about having like humanoid keepers of some sacred power. It's a running theme throughout all of his shit. Not saying that it's bad. This is a good idea, I think.
It's the way he worded it.
And in this instance, it's interesting. The Doctor's past time in a lot of shenanigans with the Sontarans is great. I'm annoyed that we get the old trope of the general not listening to the Doctor. It's a tried and true and kind of annoyed and boring, but it's fun. It's fun, and that's all you can really want. Yeah.
Love it.
We have a bit more.
What was I talking about? Dan not liking his canine friend
Is he talking to himself?
What? always fun?
I don't know.
What's always fun about it? Oh, but my final note is that there is
Oh my
some
God.
je ne sais quoi missing that I can't really put my finger on. Well, that's such the definition of je ne sais quoi. But you know, once Chibs took over, there's just this. I don't know. I think it's the Doctor's not as compelling anymore. Like in this first episode, I wasn't even interested in following the Doctor. I wasn't even interested in any of the stories. I feel like the Doctor's not compelling anymore, and that's a big missing element. And that's my final words. Yeah, have fun, guys.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like Zabe was on drugs doing this or something. There's something
Wow,
fucking
that was interesting.
bizarre about the way that he was talking there.
Oh, I love it.
Love it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's everything from me. It all seems like it was a pretty popular, well-received episode. So that's great to hear.
Oh, hell yeah. I haven't actually got a lot, but
Okay.
I'll read out what I do have. My stories, and I make a post on Instagram so you can tell me what you think and feel about the episode. I also do some polls as well if you don't want to type out how you feel. I am James Payton said a fantastic episode, though the ending was a little rushed. Maybe a second part was needed, ? And jumping on my story. I have War of the Sontarans. Dylan said very good. One of Chipper's best. 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Said 4. Fantastic. And I put out 4th in the episode, War of the Sontarans, for a poll. One of the options was woo, the other was oh no. And 100% for woo.
Woo!
And finally, I have 4th episode 2. I did another story saying last chance to get you any reviews. And Shane said, all right, a lot to chew on, but a bit dry. Fair enough. So people seem to, either like it or I feel like, are like, it wasn't great, but I still liked it. So that's good to see.
Yeah, but mostly all thumbs ups around, I guess.
I would say so, yeah.
Sorry if my audio just picked up a child screaming down the road. Don't know what happened there. But it was also followed by a slight giggle, so I assume the kid's fine. No need to get alarmed, guys. I don't have a screaming. I don't know where I'm going with this. All right. Shall we go on to this other segment that let's do what next? So this here do be the segment where we want to find out what you guys think is going to happen in War of the Sontarans. So I asked 2 questions this week. So it's all about your predictions and just seeing how wrong you were. And also just getting a bit silly with them. So I asked, what are the Sontarans up to this episode? Now that's what I call comedy said. They all simp for Mage Strax and they're planning a war in an attempt to get him to notice them.
I love it.
I like that. Dylan then said, so basically my theory is that the Sontarans are going to start a JLS cover band, but because the Doctor doesn't like JLS, she's going to try and stop them.
I love JLS.
I said, for the love of God, I hope this program never falls into your hands. And Dylan said, understandable. I also asked one more question, which was, how is the Doctor and the new fam, going to get out of the big cliffhanger of the Flux coming at them from episode 1? Dylan says, Dan's going to boink the Flux with his magic pan. Vinder is going to get a pizza with a Sontaran. And I'm going to be watching the whole thing unfold. In all seriousness, I think the Doctor will have to make a deal with the Swarm to get her friend and herself out of the situation, or they'll get eaten up by the Flux and arrive in alternate reality, where the Sontarans have taken over Earth. There you go. Pretty bloody right there. Now, that's what I call comedy said. Vinder is Jenny, the Doctor's daughter, and is a part of the time agents and the space station he was created by Jack. That's why it's called Rose. This is Dylan says this is the craziest shit I've read, but it's definitely 110% something Chibnall would do. Okay, here is I saw this one theory that was like maybe Vinder is a descendant of like Zachary Quench or something from the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
Yeah.
Because I guess they have a bit of a similar look to them, and the ships kind of look a bit similar as well. And then that would maybe explain why it's called Outpost Rose. And I was like, that would be a cool little nod. But we did actually find out this week that Vinder was serving time or something. Did he say? Or did he say something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, sort of, and also like we predicted, he like has been like being punished for doing something. We don't know what yet, but
Yeah. Interesting. Next week looks good.
Yeah, I'm really excited for next week. I think this whole thing is awesome.
Looks exciting.
Really excited. Yeah, it's gonna be great. And also, I think that this is a really great time to be a Doctor Who fan, like you said. Like, it's really cool. Like, it's great to see everyone kind of coming together and enjoying the show as we should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's been great.
Damn, it's been great. That's so fucking good, dude. What would you rate the War of the Sontarans?
Yeah, right.
That's episode 80 of our show.
Oh, well, get ready for an 8.5.
Oh, damn, man. You're loving this series.
I know. Try and stop me. I was going to give it an 8, but I was like, why give it an 8 when I loved it that much? It was just so fun. And please enjoy this, because I'm not going to give probably many episodes of Jodie's first 2 seasons an 8. Maybe a couple, but not a lot. So enjoy this and enjoy me enjoying the Flux, because, who knows what I'm going to give the other episodes.
Damn right, man. I'm going to give War of the Sontarans an 8. I think it was
awesome.
A slight step up from last week, just because it actually had like its own kind of narrative within the big plot, which I think adds rewatchability, which, like I said, is a big reason for me coming back to Who all these times. Sometimes everything was great. I'm not going to sit here and list everything, because just everything was fucking great. All right. You
already heard us talk about that.
What, prick?
I said, you already heard us talk about that. We're not going to say it again.
You literally just heard us for an hour just nut over an episode of a sci-fi show. So you're the real fucking sick people here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Cool.
What he said.
I don't know. Any predictions for next week? I really don't know I don't know how we're going to get out of this cliffhanger, and I don't know what's in store for next week. I'm genuinely
going to explore the planet time and the Cybermen and meant to rock up, and I think Yaz's Weeping Angel thing is going to be her like hallucinating, and then somehow the angels get in her mind, and then they'll have to face him next week. Because in the shot of that, she's like back in her police uniform in her car.
Yeah.
So I believe it's just like her mind playing tricks on her. But
maybe, yeah.
The angel shows up somehow. I'm not sure how, but
I definitely, for me, all I know is we're going to be exploring the planet of time. That's called Once Upon Time, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also there was like a cool shot in the Next Time trailer where I think it's Yaz or someone is in like this really cool uniform that looks, it looks cool, man. Just go and just check it out. Like she like teleports into this uniform or something. It's weird. It's crazy shit. Really interesting. And all the characters are holding division guns as well. So that's interesting. I don't know how the fuck we're gonna get there within the next episode. Like, that's bizarre to me. Like the first scene, the division, maybe they come into it earlier next week. I don't know, man. This shit crazy. This is fire. This is Doctor Who just on fire.
I love it.
Shall we do our favorite part, Connor? Shall we sing the song?
Of course. This is our favorite part.
Let's do it. Take it away, baby.
All right. Ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. And a 1, and a 2, and a skilly diddly do.
It's Aidan and Connor's podcast. Doing Doctor Who reviews. Doing Doctor Who reviews. Fuck yeah. Bring on Once Upon Time, baby.
Ooh.